Hi everyone, I'm Joshua and I'm part of the Sephora squad. So today I'm going to be debunking the myth that dry skin cannot have beautiful, hydrated, glowy foundation all day. Let me show you some of my favorite products to get the look. So the first step in my hydrating foundation routine is primer. And I'll be using the Makeup Forever Step 1 Primer Hydra Booster. Now I always like to start by priming because it really helps to keep the foundation on my dry skin. So what I like to do is just lightly press this more in the center of the face and any areas where I have a little bit more dryness. And again, basically what this does is it helps not only smooth out texture, but provide all day hydration on the skin too. If you really want your foundation to last a really long time, make sure the primer actually sinks into the skin and has time to absorb before you apply the foundation over top of it. So next in my routine is concealer, and I'll be using the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Cafe au Lait. Now this concealer is really amazing for dry skin because again, it has that creamy, radiant consistency to it. So with this, I'm just going to lightly take a little and pop it underneath my eyes. I'll do a little on my forehead where I get a little bit red, on the other eye, and then I'll just pop a little kind of on my cheeks because I get really red there. So since this has that creamy consistency to it, it's actually very easy to blend with your fingertips. So I'm just gonna take my clean finger and lightly press that into the skin. And again, since I have drier skin, this is really great because the consistency has more of like a hydrating, smooth quality to it. So it tends to give a really nice soft finish to the skin. Now, if you do have dry skin too, I would recommend pressing it into the complexion because when you press it, it actually helps to smooth out any sort of dry texture on the skin. If you do kind of more swiping, you can actually build and kind of show more of that dry texture if you're not careful. So again, always pat. Get it in there. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I always like to start off with concealer first because concealer will do most of the heavy lifting for you. So what's nice is if you put on more concealer and less foundation, it'll tend to give your skin a much more soft, kind of natural look. So the next step in my hydrating foundation routine is foundation. And today I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. And I use shade 210 Neutral. First things first, before we do anything, give this a good shake. And now we're ready. So the Rare Beauty foundation is amazing again for dry skin because it tends to have more of a natural finish to it, and it's definitely not too mattifying or too glowy. So it has this nice little doe foot applicator to it. So I'm just gonna apply this in areas of the face where I need just a tiny bit more coverage. With clean fingers, I'm just gonna lightly blend that in. I'm still continuing with those pressing motions because I don't want to kick up any of the dry texture that my skin may have. And then what I love about the foundation too is that it really just helps to marry the concealer in with the rest of the skin so everything just looks super blended and very airbrushy. Oh, and this literally feels like nothing on my skin too. So next on my foundation routine to bring a little life back into my face, I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty by Rihanna Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blush in Petal Poppin'. As you can see, Petal Poppin' is a really beautiful peachy kind of orangey color, and since I actually have more of a neutral warm undertone, I love using these warmer tone colors to really add natural color to my skin. So I'm just gonna grab a tiny amount on my index finger, and then I'll lightly apply that to the apples of the cheek. And then if you want a softer application of it too, you can always kind of press it on the back of your hand first just to dilute some of the pigment out so it looks a little bit softer and more natural. To find the apple of your cheek, it's super easy. All you have to do is smile. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit and just lightly bounce it on my skin, right on top of that cheekbone there. I love using a cream blush since I have much drier skin. This really just helps to blend into the complexion without looking powdery or dry. I especially love not only in the apple, but popping it a little bit higher in the cheekbone. It really helps to lift up your entire cheek. And so now I'm gonna do the other side. So now to add a little dimension to my foundation routine, I'm going to be using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Matte Bronzer in shade Medium. Now this bronzer is one of my absolute favorites for dry skin because it has a really smooth, creamy consistency to it, and I love how easy it is to blend onto the skin too. I'm going to be using our Sephora Collection number 59 brush and just lightly applying that all around the perimeter of my face. I always like to start off on the top of the forehead here, right into the hairline. And again, I'm using light pressure and almost like small little circular motions. And what that does is it really helps to create a really smooth, almost airbrushy finish to the skin. And then again, give yourself a little smile, and you want to find right underneath the cheek there and just add a little bit of that bronzer. And then I like to go a little along the jawline here as well. And then a little tiny bit underneath too. And then that really helps to create a much more defined jaw. And then whatever I have left on the brush, I just want to lightly buff down the neck. So now I'm going to do the other side. Now to finish off my foundation routine, I'm going to be using the Tarte Maracuja Miracle Mist Setting Spray. Now this is one of the best for dry skin because it has a lot of hydrating ingredients within it. I also love the fact too that it has a continuous mist, so you can continue to spray it on the face and get all of that hydration and set you need. And that's it. That's the look. Look at how beautiful, hydrated, and glowy this skin looks. Can you believe it? So be sure to give your dry skin some love and click the link in the description to find out more. And make sure you click that like and subscribe button so that you can keep getting how-tos like this. Until next time, bye!